Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel. It's Canisha. If you're new around here, my name is Canisha and I create video content on business, lifestyle, career and just general chit chat. So if you like the sound of that, go ahead and follow me on my journey by hitting the subscribe button below. So without further ado, let's jump straight into today's video. As you're probably aware, and I've mentioned it a few times, I'm currently job hunting and looking for a full-time role after completing my undergraduate degree last month. And so like many of you, if you're watching this right now, you know that dreaded feeling of having to find a role, do the application process, fill out like 70%, find out there's a cover letter at the end, have an existential dread about that. Yeah, like basically it's a whole journey to doing applications and hoping, to get the interview on the other side. And so I figured I would share with you guys something that's been helping me a lot to first of all figure out what companies I'd actually be interested in applying for and the kind of roles that I want to do. So when I first got into this quarantine period, I was kind of headstrong on the kind of career that I would like to enter. So the kind of roles that interested me the most, and so the ones I'd want to apply for. But as time went on and as I found more and more different roles, I started to realize that I may not be as clear or as informed on the kind of opportunities that are actually out there, and that I might be interested in other functions that I may not have been, aware of beforehand. So to solve this problem, I have been doing a lot of informational interviews. Now you're probably wondering, what is an informational interview? And essentially it's a informal conversation with an employee at the company that you're interested in. They're also in a role that you're interested in finding more information about. And most times these can be conversations that are like 15 to 30 minutes long, and you tend to be the one leading the conversation as it's more for you to learn from them, find out more about their career journey, find out more about the day-to-day role, as well as what you could possibly do to prepare yourselves better for the application and potentially the company. Now knowing this and knowing that that's what I wanted to do and wanted to have more of these conversations, I now have the next hurdle of trying to figure out how do I go about doing this? And that's when I turned to LinkedIn and used it as a tool to find different people at the organisations that I'm interested in working for, and basically send this message that I put on the screen right here. And it's very straightforward, basically introduce myself, where I'm currently at, and what my call to action was. So what I was hoping that I'd get out of basically this message. And as you can see, it's very straightforward, simple, and I'd always link this with the connect function because some of the people that I was speaking to tend to be strangers. So that was the first way to actually reach out to them and be in contact. More often than not, a lot more people got back to me to say, yeah, that's fine, happy to do it, on these dates or this time, look forward to speaking to you further. And one of the things that I got from that was just to show that a lot of people, especially now during quarantine, they have more free time on their hands, and they're actually very flattered that you'd want to know more about their role and what they do and their journey, that they most likely say yes. And to be honest, for every probably 4 people that don't respond to you or that may say no, you're definitely guaranteed at least one person getting back to you and having the ball rolling on that. So definitely don't get discouraged if you don't get people reaching back to you. But once you do have secured a meeting time, the best thing you can do is to prepare for this conversation. You want to figure out what are the things that you'd hope to get out of this conversation. So is it that you're mainly focused on learning about the role in particular? Do you want to learn perhaps more about the company and the culture, the values? Or maybe it's trying to figure out what kind of industry or career that you'd hope to get into. Identify these objectives, and that will help guide you in your conversations that you have with the person, and make sure you leave this conversation feeling yeah, I've got the answers that I was looking for. And like with most conversations, you just want them to flow, and you want to at the end of it let the other person know where you are in terms of your situation. So are you a recent graduate? Are you going to be graduating soon, or are you just looking for a career change? Let them know, and then they can hopefully keep in mind for you in the future. If there's anything they come across, they can let you know about and inform you. And another thing that I always make sure that I do just before the end of the conversation is to actually ask them if they might know of anybody that I should perhaps reach out to after this phone call. So maybe in the conversation that we've had, it's transpired that maybe I might be better suited at a different team, or that I might be more interested in a different function. then maybe they might know someone within the organisation that is already occupying that space, and then they might be able to point me in that direction and perhaps make an introduction. So by doing this, not only are you building your network with the person you've spoken to already, but you're also having an idea of where to go next after this phone call and continue these different conversations. And after you've done all this, don't forget to send the person a thank you message, basically thanking them for their time and anything following on that you'd agreed on within your conversation. And this should keep the conversation going, but have in mind that perhaps every 3 to 4 months you do touch base with them and update them on where you are on your journey, or find out if there's any changes that may have happened with them, their team, the organisation, and that's how you basically stay in contact and continue to nurture this relationship. And you never know where this could take you. Perhaps it might be a referral, or maybe it's just maintaining your business network. But overall, the thing that you got out of this informational conversation was you learned more about the role, you've learned more about the industry, you've learned more about the company in particular, so what their values are, mission statement, culture, and what it actually is like to be an employee at the company, so that it guides you for your application, so you know how to present yourself in your cover letter, your CV, and also whether you actually want to apply there, because you know, there are definitely some jobs that have a glossy job description, glossy, you know, just image about them as a company, but when you're actually there, there's so much you begin to learn that you realise that it might not be the best place for you, or it just might not be a role that interests you once you learn more about the day-to-day tasks. So that's definitely the ultimate benefit that I find out of these informational interviews and conversations. So I definitely think they're worth trying out and giving a go. Now, a lot of the information that I got as like guidance for how to carry out information interviews, as well as perhaps some questions that you might be looking for, was actually through Madeline Mann, who I have linked her YouTube video on information interviews below in the description. But she has great resources on all things to do with job hunting, how to have these conversations and interviews, applications, all of these on her YouTube channel as well as website. So those are linked below. But yeah, I just thought it'd be really helpful if I just shared with you what's working for me, so that it perhaps might help you on your journey, because we're all in this together and there's no use in me keeping things, you know, that are helping me to myself when you could benefit from that as well. So I hope you found value in this video and that you enjoyed. Don't forget to click the subscribe button if you want to see more of my content and join me on my journey, but I'll definitely see you in the next one. Thank you.